Like he does every week, it's Brian Baldinger, Baldy's Breakdowns here, PHNX Cardinals podcast. And Baldi, what a week to have you on. Lots of change, not the change that we anticipated. It looks like we're going to have to wait one more week for Kyler Murray to return. But sub-headline, no Joshua Dobbs this week. Like, what do you make of Dobbs going to Minnesota? And then now the aforementioned rookie Clayton Tune taking over here in week 9.
So I'm just, I'm here in New Jersey. I'm removed from, from the desert and all the things that happened. But I mean, I was hearing rumors that Clayton Tune might start anyways this week, just to maybe spark the. I mean, I'd heard that, but obviously the news of Kirk Cousins, they were picking up the phone and making phone calls, and so with Clayton Tune possibly getting a chance to play this week, and Kyler Murray on his way back to recovery. It became available. It's too bad. I mean, I thought Josh, we talked about week in, week out, has kept him very competitive, but obviously, they're getting outscored badly in the fourth quarter. They can't convert these fourth downs to stay in these games. And, it's maybe it's time to give the rookie a chance. He's University of Houston, Dana Holgerson runs a good system there. Geno Smith came out of that system. A lot of guys have come out of that system with Dana. So, one thing that Clayton, you do at University of Houston or at West Virginia, wherever, you're going to throw the football a lot. And so, it kind of gets you, how to get yourself into a rhythm and play up tempo, some of the things that he's been used to doing.
Yeah, certainly put up a ton of numbers. Very productive there playing down in Houston. Excited about the big announcement today, by the way. All City, we've got our National Football Podcast. And can't wait to talk about what you and Andrew Gargano are going to bring on a daily basis. Anthony Gargano, apologies.
Just call him Cuz.
Yeah.
Call him, man. He's just Cuz. he's a Philly born and bred kid. Like he'll be walking through this door any minute here as we kind of get ready for this week. But just Cuz to the whole world.
Right. And you're going to be able to catch this football show, of course, on our podcast feed. Can't wait for it and what you guys are going to bring. But what are the biggest challenges, though, that you see for Tune making the transition from not a Power 5 conference, obviously, the offense he played in? I mean, what are the fifth-round rookie? What are his biggest challenges that he's going to face in a really, really good defense coming at him in the Cleveland Browns?
Maybe the league's best. I mean, he's going to see sticky, tight coverage. I just saw the Browns for the second week in a row up in Seattle and had a great chance to win that game. But, you've got a monster out there on the field in Myles Garrett. Like you just got to be aware of him. DJ Humphries, wherever he lines up, you got to be ready. Paris Johnson, he lines up all over the place. But, they play very tight man coverage. But his biggest challenge, honestly, I think, Bo, is he hasn't played since the preseason. We're going into week 9. Preseason is one speed. Week 9, a team, trying to stay on track in the AFC North right now with teams that are kind of elevating themselves in Cincinnati and Baltimore. You're going to get the best shot from Cleveland's defense. They know that as long as Deshaun is out, and PJ's been fine, but he's a stopgap guy, like he's going to see a defense in midseason form, like knowing that they've got to win the game. They've got to, shut down the Arizona's offense. They got to get the ball back multiple times to an offense. So those are some of the challenges, just the speed and just the talent level. They've got 3 corners, Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome. I mean, they can play man coverage as well as anybody in this business.
Would you say that the recipe for success, I don't even know to score points, but try to sustain drives with Clayton Tune Company is to run the football? Like it felt like at times this team got away from that with Joshua Dobbs. And they kind of got back to that last week. Kept them alive until Dobbs, inexplicable turnovers, 2 bad interceptions last week at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Like, I can't envision a scenario, Baldi. Number one, I don't really love the decision to play Tune this week, a week before Kyler Murray comes back. That's a different conversation. But then, like, having him throw 25, 30 times in Cleveland wind, that to me feels like you're setting the kid up for failure. And I know Gannon and company aren't going to do that. But to me, it's like, what's the perfect game plan for this week, do you feel like?
Well, I mean, if they get Amari, like, just going, he had a lot of good runs against a great front last week in Baltimore. I was impressed. If Clayton can be a part of the run game, I mean, and whatever you can do to kind of chew up some clock, shorten the game, steal possession, whether it's a fake punt, they're playing well on defense, very well on defense.
Yeah.
They're popping the ball loose. They're doing a lot of good things. It's good to see Buddha back on that side of the ball. But, the defense has to help them out. But, how you just can't throw the ball every down against this team. You're just playing right into their hands. Seattle got away from the run game at some point last week, and they literally couldn't move the ball from first quarter on to late in the fourth quarter when they got a turnover. I mean, they were going 3 and out almost every series. And that's Geno Smith with a fleet of receivers and, decent personnel. They were going 3 and out over and over again.
Do you feel like they're doing Kyler Murray right by holding him out and not making his debut against this defense?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how healthy he is. Like if he's fully cleared to go play right now. There's going to be an incubation period. It's just been a long time since he's played. This isn't riding a bike. This is Deshaun Watson found that out last year in Cleveland after he missed a lot of time. He went out there and his timing was off all over the place. So, Kyler's just getting back into a rhythm right now. I think the longer you can the season, nobody's giving up on the season. You can tell by the way they play defense. But at the same time, they're not going anywhere this year. So if you wait another week, it's not going to hurt anything. Whether you're 1-7, 1-8, it's not going to hurt you. Like, make sure he's ready and give him the best possible chance.
I think that's what they're doing. And again, it's frustrating because we want to watch high-end quarterback play, but if it's for the long-term benefit of the team, you can't argue with that. Here's what I also can't argue with. I think Dante Stills up front on the defensive line is going to be a gem for the Arizona Cardinals. And I'll be honest with you, Baldi, I didn't know much about him. 6th rounder out of Wisconsin or out of West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And they need so badly a disrupting 3-5 technique on that defensive line. Am I overreacting to say they've found a legitimate piece here?
I thought he played well last week. He showed up. He popped. They haven't had a guy like that since, Zach Allen, JJ. Those guys were that type of disruptive player. But you need that. And I thought against a good offensive line with a quarterback that is as mobile, if not more than any quarterback in this league, I thought he got there a few times last week. And it showed. And so this is the time to go out there and show everybody that you belong, that they didn't misdraft you, that they made the right choice. I'm sure he wants to prove a lot of people wrong coming out of the Big 12. You don't get a lot of defensive linemen drafted in this, out of that conference into this league very often. He's got a chance to kind of show everybody that in Morgantown we play pretty good football.
You gave kind of the Cardinals fan base a little bit of a shot in the arm on your Twitter account. I encourage everybody watching, listening to follow at Baldi NFL about the Cardinals defense. I mean, as this team's 1-7 and you're looking for positives, you put there that they play the game the only way. You call it Full Metal Jacket, like being attacked by a swarm of red ants. Very colorful way of putting how hard they play on defense. But can you give maybe more to what you like about this defense coached up by the young Nick Rallis?
Well, the one thing you don't see, and I've watched every game, and I'm a big Buddha Baker fan, so Buddha's out there, man, my eyes are on him. But I don't see – this is difficult to interpret, but I don't see any bad body language. I see guys flying. I see guys getting to the ball. When they get a third down stop, it's like the biggest deal in the world. They've got a lot of juice, a lot of energy. You want to throw a hit screen to them? Okay, fine, If you don't make that first block, they're all going to swarm you. And that's the one picture I showed. I just showed 10 guys sprinting to the football. And if you freeze it at the end of some of these plays, on those type of plays, and that corner from the other side of the field or that safety on that half of the field is there at the ball, it's important. And I know a little bit about how Jonathan coaches that up and the peer pressure he puts on them. But that's how you got to play it, because good things happen when you get to the football. And they've made a lot of good things happen throughout the course of the season. And it's easy. I played on a 1-15 team. It's easy when the wheels begin to fall off in a game like they have been to just kind of hang your head, walk off the field, and just get through the game. But I just don't see that attitude. And that's a credit to Jonathan and to Nick.
Let's talk about their pass rush for a second. They're somehow top 10 in sacks, as my co-host has put it, without a household name on this defensive line. Now, one name that is familiar with most Cardinal fans is Zaven Collins. Do you think he's getting better? Because this is a reclamation project of sorts, going from inside to outside. They're trying to maximize where he was drafted, 16th overall, maybe pick up his 5th-year option next offseason. Like, have you seen enough tangible evidence on Sundays? Like, hey, this guy could be something here.
Well, I mean, I know he had the sack. I mean, he makes plays every week. I didn't think he was good. I didn't think he was a good off the ball inside linebacker, because I think at Tulsa, he just, he's 260 pounds. He was just bigger and stronger than everybody, and he was fast. But I don't think he used his hands well to get off blocks. There was an issue. And so, he's got to get still better with his hands. But, rushing from the outside, you've got to be more than just a speed or power rusher. Like, you're only going to go so far with that. So I think he still has to build an arsenal. Like, there's a lot of room to grow. I mean, this is the first year. There's a lot of things to see. You're on the line of scrimmage. He played off the ball inside. Like Hassan Reddick did that at Temple. And then he went to Arizona, and eventually, it didn't work out for him until the final year. Then he went to Carolina. He's an edge rusher. And they messed up by putting him off the ball inside, and he wasn't any good. And they really couldn't find a role for him. Like, I think he has a chance, but I don't think he's got Hassan Reddick type ability. But so you're going to have to develop. Like, he's a little stiff. He's just the way he's built. But there's something there to work with. But, I want to see a true pass rush specialist work with him and develop an arsenal of moves. Like the team you just saw, Baltimore, they hired Chuck Smith out of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. He's a pass rush specialist. Well, it just so happens the Ravens lead the league in sacks right now. It's not a secret. I've seen every guy in that front develop. So I think there's room. I think there's a place for Zaven there. I think he's in the right place, because I know he's tough and he's fast and he hits and he plays hard. But you got to be more than that. You got to be able to beat, good tackles one-on-one in this business.
You highlighted some wizardry from Lamar Jackson. That touchdown pass is unreal, how he throws it around a guy. But, I mean, for Lamar standards, that game, 170 total yards, like 17 yards on the ground, 1 total touchdown. Like, what did you think? What did Gannon and Rollis do? How were they able to kind of keep him bottled up?
Well, I didn't think they I didn't think they max blitzed or anything like that, where if you break contain, you're gone for a long ways. I thought they maintained pretty good rush lanes on him and kind of just kept him corralled, even though they were trying to get to him. But I didn't think they just gave him these big looks, because I think his best runs, honestly, are when it's a design pass and these rush lanes open up and he just is able to use the speed and take off. So I thought they played zone. They kept their eyes on him, and he's making a better concerted effort to throw it and not take off with it. And it has worked to a degree. But yes, the numbers were down. They didn't put that game away to the very end. It was a ball game, into the fourth quarter. If the Cardinals could have made, one play offensively.
So I'll get you out of here with my last question on this, Baldy. Like, I think the frustration with this fan base is, Kyler Murray against this Cleveland Brown defense, you got a real chance at winning. Whereas even as well as the Cardinal defense is playing, like Clayton Tune, that's a tough sell. But if it is Clayton Tune versus somebody like PJ Walker or even a DTR rookie out of UCLA, like, the Cardinals have the horses and the confidence defensively, I think, to keep this game close. Do you agree with that?
I do. Cleveland's got a good offensive line. They played very well in Seattle last week. They're good in the trenches, both sides of the ball. But you've got to, they've been outscored 77-24 in the fourth quarter this year.
Yeah.
The quarter's killed them. It's just killed them. They've been in all we talk about every week. Like, eventually one team wears the other team down, breaks the other team's sword. And, PJ, as anybody watched the game last week, he's going to give you 2. Now, whether Jalen or Buddha or, Marco, one of these guys, you come down with him. But he's going to give you 2. And, they just traded one of the receivers away, Donovan Peoples-Jones. They got a rookie, Cedric Tillman, that probably gets activated now out of Tennessee, but he's just a rookie. So running back wise right now, I mean, they're pretty good. Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, that's a good one too. But, the ball in PJ's hands now, they've turned the ball over a bunch.
Yeah.
They're going to give you opportunities.
Cannot wait to hear all the insight we're going to get from our All City National NFL podcast with Brian Baldinger, of course, and the coach, Anthony Gargano. You can find it actually on this feed. It's not going to last. It's not going to be here forever, but we're going to have a couple of the first episodes right here where you find PHNX Cardinals. Baldi, always great insight. Can't wait to hear you officially, breaking it all down for All City.
Well, we'll be talking some Cardinal football, regardless of what the record is. I promise you.
Thank you for that.